Good morning. My name is Bob and I am the Novice Nomad. Thank you for watching my channel if this is your first time, and welcome back if this isn't. Today's discussion is going to be about dating here in the Philippines. And I want to touch on this because when I was thinking about coming here, I got mixed information about how dating goes here in the Philippines. And when I got here, it wasn't what I expected. And people tell you online, and some of the the YouTubers will say, "Oh, as soon as you walk off the plane, women are going to be crawling all over you," and it's just a cornucopia of women, and you'll get to pick and choose. It doesn't work like that for the most part. What does happen is the Filipinos are very shy. But if you're confident enough to say hi, they'll open up. Now, with that being said, there are several things to consider when dating here, when you come here, if you're coming here to date. If you're just coming here to retire and live a peaceful life, this actually does not apply to you. But if you're coming here to find a wife, find a girlfriend, find a temporary girlfriend, come here on vacation just to have fun, whatever, this will apply to you. So you can kind of weed through and decide what you really want out of what happens here. So several things to consider. This is a pretty deep subject here. So there are several things to consider. If you just meet, okay, so there are basically three types of ways to date here. You can find a permanent girlfriend that you rate, you date like you would in the States. You just, you date for a relationship. You can come here and let's say you're visiting, and you can basically rent a girlfriend. And in some aspects, that can be beneficial to you, especially if you're here on a short term, because she can act as an interpreter, she can act as a tour guide, that stuff. And then you have the one night stands. Those are usually the bar girls, and I'll describe what a bar girl really is. I'm sure you kind of have an idea, but I'll describe that when I get to it. So we'll start off with the long-term type of dating, maybe even leading to marriage. I suggest if you're going to do that, you come here single. There are dating sites for the Philippines. Unfortunately, a lot of women on those channels aren't real. And they're in these basically what we would call boiler rooms in the States, all sorts of different people from foreign entities, pretending to be Filipinas that are trying to get money off of you. Now, not all of them on those dating websites are like that, but there's a lot that are. And if you're on them enough, it only takes about 5 or 10 minutes to figure out who is and who isn't. It doesn't take long. If you come here single, it leaves you open to do things that you want to do and to date who you want to date. If you come here and you already have a girlfriend here, great. If you trust her enough, what they call an LDR, long distance relationship, and you get here and everything is good, great, fantastic. That's what happened to me, fortunately. I met mine on Instagram, and we just hit it off, and we've been dating now for 2 years. So I got lucky. So if you're looking to stay long-term also, go to Facebook Marketplace. Facebook is huge here. Everybody here has Facebook. and look for temporary rentals. Don't do the Airbnb thing, just unless you really, really want to. But I would suggest just go to Facebook Marketplace, get a hotel in the general area where you want to stay, and go to Facebook Marketplace and look at short-term or maybe even long-term rentals. You can get really good deals on there. You can get beach houses for like $110 a month, $200 a month. It's small, it's good for a single guy. It may or may not have air conditioning, so keep that in mind. So the next one is the temporary girlfriend one, the rent a girlfriend. And with that, you have a girlfriend here. She takes you along, shows you everything, but you pay her per week, and that would be an agreement with you guys. An average salary here for a worker, I think, is somewhere around 5,000 pesos or less, which is usually about $80. That's just for a general worker, like McDonald's, retail, whatever. And that's kind of on the high end, but I think it's about what it is, between 3,500 and 5,000 pesos a week. So she would be able to translate for you, but everybody here understands English. About 90 to 95% speak it. A lot of people are shy and they don't want to, embarrass themselves in speaking English, but pretty much everybody here understands English. She will help you as a tour guide or whatever. Now you have the third option, which is the bar girls. Now I'll touch on this. Where I currently reside, there's a main road that has a lot of bars. So I see the bar girls, I see them going to work. And a bar girl, there's a couple things you got to consider with them. How they work it in most bars is they bring you into the bar. Their job is to keep you in the bar and purchase drinks and food. Okay? When you come into a bar and these bar girls are sitting with you, they have these little tickets and they keep track of how many drinks and how much food you consume. This way, they get a cut of that. They get commissions on that. Now, if you want to bring them home, they're open to that, but it's not necessarily pushed by the bar. So again, that's a side deal that you have to work with the girl. So that being said, you got to keep this in consideration. Some of these bar girls are married, okay? And that brings up a whole other type of issue. And sometimes you'll meet a girl here, and just a regular girl, let's say at a mall, which is a good place to meet a really good girl, is a mall. Or you go to a coffee shop by a call center. Great places to meet quality women. Now, that being said, the Philippines does not allow for divorces. It's illegal here as of right now. They are trying to push a bill where it is legal, but right now it is illegal. And so the girls that you meet here, you kind of have to be careful, okay? And what I mean by that is, if they're married and you start dating them, you can go to jail. And that's on the good end. The husband, if he finds out, can actually harm you, and they call that a crime of passion, and he will not get charged. Like I said, it just brings up a whole boatload of problems if that woman is married. She can say she's separated. Okay, fine. But she's still married in the Philippines. So you gotta watch out for that. Another thing to watch out for, especially with the bar girls, it goes both ways, I guess, good girls and the bar girls. So they may have kids. They might be a single mom, but they don't tell you that. And what they'll do is, let's say you go and meet the family, and they'll say, oh, this is my niece, this is my nephew. But in reality, they might be her kids. But you got to watch how she interacts and how they interact and what they say. Okay? Because then you'll figure it out. That can lead to issues too. So another thing is too, with bar girls, is they will say, oh, I have a child. She lives with my family in the province and I'm trying to help support her. Can you, maybe help me out with that? And a lot of guys, decent guys, will be like, fine, yeah, I can help you out. And in reality, there is no kid. So you send her this money and she keeps it. So she may show you pictures of a kid, but I'm telling you, do not give money to a Filipina who you do not know well, period. Everything here runs on money. They're looking for money. So if a Filipina who you just started dating or just met in a bar and she starts telling you the sob story about her kids, do not send her money. That's my advice. If you do, that's on you. But I would advise you not to do that. But dating here in the Philippines for a foreigner, it's easy. I'll tell you a couple quick stories. And this happens, okay, so with my Filipino present, right there. So I'm in a hospital last year. I had a leg infection. And I was in the hospital for 4.5 days. And every time my antibiotics would get switched out, 3 or 4 Filipina nurses would come in. And they would just make small conversation with me. And I know what was going on. And it would usually happen when my girlfriend wasn't there, because she was staying with me at the hospital, but she'd have to come home here and do things, and then she'd come back. And one time she was there, and these 3 or 4 nurses came in, and they're like, oh, where are you from? How long you been here? Blah, blah, blah. Where are you living right now? And they're flirting. And my girlfriend is right there, and these nurses are like, do you have a girlfriend? I'm like, yeah, she's right there. Oh, well, and just start continuing on with the flirting. And finally they left, and I was very professional. I didn't do anything. I turn and look, and she's looking at me, and she says, those girls were flirting with you. I'm like, I know, but I didn't do anything. Right in front of her, they did this. And then another good example, we're at a local grocery store, which is maybe 100 yards from where we're at right now. Her and I are in there. There's a girl with a Filipino boyfriend walking around, and she sees me. She starts following me around the store. And I let my Filipino girlfriend know, hey, look, this girl's following me around. She goes, I know, I see her. And she kept following us around the store, watching me, looking at me, cutting me off in the aisles. And it happens. I get approached on the street with her there. I get stared at. The dating scene here is crazy. It really is. And if you're up for the challenge, and if you really want to meet a good woman in general, date a Filipina. I suggest you come here, check it out. If you're under the age of 40, have fun. Sow your wild oats. Go for it. If you're over the age of 40, just be careful. So on that note, I hope everybody has a good day, and I hope to see everybody back in the next video. Thank you very much.